Now, family historians tell me, I bet you have not looked at sewerage records as part of your family history research. Am I right? Thought so. So sewerage records are definitely something you should be checking out. I know you've done the birth, deaths, marriages, the censuses, what exists, the electoral rolls, the directories, gazettes and things like that to help fill in all the information. This is definitely something you can add a whole nother dimension to your family history. So Susie Zeta has compiled this book to highlight just how extraordinary these records are, and she actually says here, an untapped magnificent resource. It really is. So it, apart from giving you details of the person who lives in that property, it shows you the size of the property, as in the dwelling. You know, was it a little house? Was it a giant mansion? Was it a public school? Was it a any other building that has septic connected, actually sewerage connected? So anywhere in Australia and New Zealand that had sewerage connected, there are records, and she tells you about the different types of records because there is a range of them, and she also tells you where you can find them. So she's got the addresses in here, so for the different states as well as for New Zealand, she covers them as well. So that's really useful. Now, what can you find on sewerage records? Apart from the fact that it shows you whether it's the size of a little cottage or a giant house or whatever, it doesn't discriminate at all, because like I said, it covered everybody who had septic connected. Shows you the layout of the house. That is really interesting, because were there 12 people living in this tiny little house, or was it 12 people in this giant mansion? Where was the kitchen? Where were the bedroom? Just adds that little bit of extra interest, if you like. Also, some of the records do tell you what it was made of. Was it wood? Was it iron? Was it stone? Was it brick? Again, just interesting to know. You'll have an address from an electoral roll or a directory, and that's all you have, because it doesn't exist necessarily on the building may not still be standing, or if it is, it might have been knocked down and rebuilt into something new. You can find out some of this information from these records. So it's definitely useful to use these in conjunction with directories and electoral rolls and rate books, and you get a whole overall picture. So if you haven't checked out sewerage records and you want to add that extra bit of interest to your family history or social history, definitely check them out. Sewerage records, there are lots of good stuff. Available as a printed book and as an ebook download. So you'll find the details in the links below.